Thanks for all the questions. We'll get right to them. Question 1. Every one of us here needs to protect our family from chemtrails, 5G, GMO, radiation, fluoride in water, etc. Can we protect ourselves with a single thought? Nothing can affect me and I am healthy. Anything you recommend practicing every day to stay away from these? Answer. Hypothetically, the answer is yes, you can. Is it likely? It depends on how strong your intention is and how sure you are that it will work. Thought intention is stronger than anything else, so it is possible to live in the environment you describe and not to be too affected, or be minimally affected. In the Middle Ages, there was tuberculosis, cholera, and plague. Most people in the villages got sick and died from some of these diseases, but not everybody did. Why was that? The healthy people were subjected to the same viruses. Sometimes it's the genetics that makes them immune, and sometimes people have a strong enough willpower to not get sick and die. Other times it's a combination of genetics, positive thinking, and soul vibration. Your mantra is good. You can use it and repeat it as often as you feel necessary. Don't put too much effort behind it. Just a light but firm thought intention, and then you'll just leave it. If you notice that negative thoughts come into your mind, putting you in doubt, repeat the mantra. Question 2. Can you do a video explaining the connections to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Anunnaki, Orion, and the higher entities in the different dimensions he met and mentioned in the 13 tablets? Also, if you can explain ascended soul masters who have mastered enlightenment in this matrix. Is dark energy used in the matrix and or the Ka? Besides moving your soul energy in a circular motion or dimensions, were there any beings powerful enough that could stand up to dark souls in this matrix by physical fight or powerful light energies? Answer. On Thoth, although this 4% universe we have trapped ourselves in is very limited, it's not void of life. It has its own dimensions. We don't know whom he met in the astral, but a guess with AIF members. Thoth is not allowed back to Orion either until he repents, so the being he met were almost certainly not from the Ka. Ascended masters are mostly the AIF and on rare occasions humans whom the overlords have rewarded with this title for job well done. There is no dark energy and matter. It's just dark to us humans, who can only perceive a small spectrum of visible light. Dark matter is just as light as the light we see. We will experience this when we exit the matrix. The following is from space.com. Quote, overall, dark energy is thought to contribute 73% of all the mass and energy in the universe. Another 23% is dark matter, which leaves only 4% of the universe composed of regular matter, such as stars, planets, and people. End quote. This means, according to science, that the material universe is 23% larger than what we can perceive, and it's not dark. The rest is energy and dimensions. Dark energy is going through our bodies every second of the day, but we can't perceive it. It exists outside our spectrum. We don't know if there have been beings powerful enough to defeat the overlords in a physical fight, etc. We humans can't. In that sense, they are superior to us, at least in our current state. Question 3. Is Anu on Enki's side or Enlil's and the Queen of Orion's side? Because in the WPP it said Ani, or should it be Anu? And the Orion Queen had a deal to fight on her side. Answer. Anu just means heaven, the Orion Empire. It's not a being. However, the being people erroneously connect with Anu is Khan Enlil, Enki's and Enlil's stepfather. He is married to the queen, so then it speaks for itself. Enlil, Ninurta, the queen, and Khan Enlil are on one side, and Enki is on the other, if we look at it from that perspective. Question 4. How does Enki, Enlil, and Anu look like? I keep hearing reptilian-like, but the WPP says they look short and with beards, kind of wild-like, no? Answer. Enki and Enlil are of the bird tribe. They are birds, reptilian. A fairly good picture of Enlil Ninurta can be found on the internet, taken from Egyptian pictographs. Google Set or Seth and look in the image section. There are images of Seth with black skin and the bird's head. That's Enlil Ninurta. Enki looks similar. Anu/Khan Enlil looks similar to Gimli in the movie version of Lord of the Rings because he's Syrian. He's short, hairy, with a beard. These are just their original physical features. All these beings are capable of shape-shifting. Question 5. A bit intro of me. I'm from, withheld on questioner's request, China. The latest news is that 5G has been approved to all China cities, at least big cities, and definitely starting with the city I'm currently in. Any advice for us who do not want to participate in the AIF agenda? How to exit the matrix while staying in? Could you please break down with all your knowledge? Answer. We can only adapt the best we can while we're still on Earth. We do that by educating ourselves like you do. Meditate and raise your vibration. The higher you raise your vibration, the better off you will be. When people have the opportunity, move out of the big cities and move to smaller towns or villages where the radiation is not as severe. Question 6. What do you think about feminism and veganism? Answer. Feminism is a Rockefeller-sponsored project starting decades ago. Its purpose is to break down the family unit. It's a preparation for the singularity, where family life and sex will be obsolete. Going vegan is a good thing as we see it. It's enough to see what they put in our regular food to understand the benefits. Dairy is very bad for us. A vegan diet has shown to make people healthier and gain more energy. It has also proven to cure many chronic illnesses and in some instances significantly made those with chronic diseases much better. Question 7. What are our souls meant to do after death? What was the original procedure before we were trapped in the soul recycling grid? Was the light body free to choose its next destination? Can you describe the astral plane in a bit more detail? I understand that some souls stay there to heal before they can move on, or are misled into the light, and some are so damaged that they don't want to leave. These are what we call ghosts. Is that correct? Answer. In the original experiment, there was no death. The human soul group was supposed to graduate in one go. The bodies did not decay like they do now. Of course, accident happened, where the bodies got damaged and destroyed, but we also had self-healing capacities that we don't have now. Sometimes we can imagine that the bodies got in a situation where repair was impossible, and these souls probably went back to Orion with the experiences they had gathered. When we, the original human, returned to Orion, we are meant to be creator gods, something that we already are because we are designed that way. However, we are not forced to do anything. Those who don't want to be creator gods don't need to. Ghosts are souls with huge attachments to the world, so they refuse to leave the astral plane next to our physical world. Not until they rid themselves of these attachments can they move on. Some of them don't realize that they are dead and or refuse to accept it. Some ghosts are also energetic imprints of a discarnate human. Souls healing between lives we believe is very uncommon. The norm is to just send us down the tunnel and then back to Earth again. Regarding the astral planes, it has different dimensions, mansions as Jesus called them. Time is irrelevant there. Usually you see and experience things there according to your beliefs. Question 8. About our DNA. Don't you think there are similarities between the 4% universe and the 96% Ka? Likewise, with the amount of DNA we use versus the junk DNA. The universe tends to like fractal patterns. I like to believe that as protectors of Earth and all living beings, that we have in our DNA every gene, protein needed to become every other organism, mammal on Earth. We could shapeshift if we had access to this information. Answer. Yes, the percentage of our active DNA seems to correspond to the percentage of the universe we can perceive, doesn't it? It is definitely related. We could definitely shapeshift if we had the information and knowledge we need. The genuine shamans of old could shapeshift. They still remembered. Question 9. I have seen that DNA can change its shape based on frequencies, emotions, and thus in a happier state our DNA is loose and the deeper aspects of it more accessible. Do you think things like pH and 5G can keep our DNA tightly coiled and protected, but then preventing us from accessing it? For example, I would like to believe that humans are capable of photosynthesizing, which would remove the need to feed off other organisms, which would be more in keeping with our benevolent beginnings. Answer. In this dense reality, it's almost impossible to photosynthesize or to live from sun energy alone, although this was the norm in the much less density reality on Tiamat. We wouldn't rigidly state that it's impossible, but you need to vibrate on a very high frequency, and it might be possible that photosynthesize for a while, but for a lifetime, it's doubtful. Question 10. What do you understand in the paraphrase, "The key to understanding the universe lies in the numbers 3, 6, and 9? Answer. We know that this comes from Tesla, and we believe he was right, although he was talking about the 4% universe, not knowing about the Ka, we presume. These 3 numbers alone and in combination, and which can all be divided by 3, are the key numbers of this matrix, from what we understand. But neither our Ariel nor I have studied this enough to give a better explanation. There are researchers out there who have studied numbers in more detail than we have. Question 11. Can you explain gravity? Sometimes I think a good substitute for Mother Goddess would be gravity, the force and glue that holds the universe together. Science seems confused by its cause. Answer. None of us has looked at this. Some say that gravity doesn't exist, and that might be true in the kind of universe we live. But again, we are not knowledgeable enough on the subject to give a good answer. Question 12. You have said before that the planets and the sun are sentient beings. And on Earth specifically, do you think it is possible or likely that a human body could actually survive off-planet without the energy or frequency of Earth for a significant period of time? Answer. No, our human bodies are made to stay on the planet, not to travel through space. Science tried to bypass this by using bodies similar to the grey aliens, who are originally biological bodies that were made into AI. After the singularity, scientists in the know hope that humankind can travel through space in these grey space suits. We suggest that the future human will eventually look like the grey grace that people sometimes encounter. Question 13. I have done past life regression therapy out of curiosity and always end up in the space between lives, which confirms that what you said about not actually having any past lives because the soul fires are rearranged. However, with your new take on the creation of a narcissist, I feel that that is how I grew up and spent the first years of my adult life. Now I fight the ego, artificial soul, daily and feel those parts of me that produce expected fear behavior have healed. Sometimes family, friends refuse to acknowledge my progress and interpret it as neglect and isolation toward their expectations. It's like the amount of narcissism I exhibit is brought about more by the people that I surround myself with. More of an adaptive survival behavior rather than who I truly am. Is being empathic the real opposite, or should I try to be somewhere in the middle? What if this outbreak of narcissism is more of a virus or AI programming versus an alien soul group revival, e.g. insectoids? Answer. The solution is to become your authentic self. We can only be that by learning who we really are, genuine soul versus artificial soul. It seems to us that you are not a narcissist, only the victim of narcissistic abuse, which often creates narcissistic traits inside us. We start operating more from the artificial soul. Some people suggest that narcissism is a virus, and it is in certain terms. But we believe that the artificial soul is a better explanation. Question 14. I have dealt with some psychedelics before, and particularly with magic mushrooms. I sometimes think I see the grid, or maybe the ionosphere. I recently did Changa, DMT, an ayahuasca derivative, and after the confounding phase, I met an enormous grid with a snake scale-like pattern that was alive. On the one hand, I see the grid as outside of me, and on the other, agree that the grid is within me. If psychedelics can make you see things that your mind might filter out as meaningless, should we not all be experimenting more with psychedelics in a way to better practice feeling comfortable leaving our bodies and the grid? Answer. We have never taken DMT, ayahuasca or any other psychedelic, so we can't tell from first-hand experience. We can only speculate on what others have experienced. Quite a few people say they have seen a grid around the earth after taking DMT in particular. There are people on YouTube who told about their experiences. Some talk about the doom. Although many think it's two different things, it might be one and the same. The grid is often described as something similar to a scale-like energy that's emitted from an electric wire when you're in the astral. And that makes sense. It is certainly alive. It's our own energy as a collective. We have no definite opinion whether to take psychedelics or not. It must be up to the individual. Some people have very bad experiences from taking it, while others feel they get enlightened. It all depends on the person's level of fear. If the person is fearful in general, psychedelics will usually amplify these fears. Will it help us understand things better? It probably will, depending on the person. The question is how much of what we experience is reliable, but that is something each individual needs to evaluate for himself or herself. You are welcome to email us more questions at wespenreproductions@gmail.com.